Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Sneha, your bioeducator, and you are watching biologypathbhavan. Before starting the class, I would request all the newcomers to subscribe to this channel because through this channel, your concepts will be crystal clear. So let's just not wasting the time and jump into the video. So as we already know from our previous class, that all organisms require energy to perform their basic life process like growth, repair or development of their body, right? Now the question arises that where does the energy comes from? Energy comes from the food we eat or consume in daily basis. But have you ever thought that how do we utilize these food to get that energy? Now here in this chapter, Nutrition in Animals, we will discuss it. And for this, firstly you have to know the term what is nutrition. Now nutrition is a process of taking food and utilizing it. Means simply when an organisms obtain their food into their body and then utilized it to get that energy is termed as nutrition. Okay. Now within the food there are lots of nutrients are present, and what are they? They are carbohydrate, proteins, fat, vitamins, minerals, so on and so forth. Okay. Now the carbohydrate, protein, fat, these are the macronutrients are present in a complex form inside our food. Means these particular nutrients, that carbohydrate, protein, fat, these are the macronutrients and they are exist within the food in a complex form. Now what is complex form? It is a form that usually animals or humans cannot utilize it directly in their body. So this complex form have to break down into simpler form. Okay, and here comes the word digestion in the frame. Okay, but when we talk about nutrition, there are two modes of nutrition, right? As we already know that autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now in case of autotrophic mode of nutrition, the organisms can prepare their food. But in case of heterotrophic mode of nutrition, organisms cannot prepare their food and they are dependent on others like animals, including human also. So in this chapter we will discussing about animals and humans. So they are performing the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, right? Now in case of animals or humans, the heterotrophic mode of nutrition consists of 5 individual steps. And what are they? Number 1, ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and lastly egestion. One by one I will tell you what are they. So first is ingestion. Now ingestion means a process of taking food. Means simply when we eat our food is termed as ingestion. Okay. While digestion is a process of breaking complex food into simple soluble form. As I already told you that digestion is a process where these carbohydrate, protein, fat, that are the macronutrients which is present within the food in a complex manner which we cannot able to utilize in our body. So to utilize it, we have to break down into simple soluble form. Otherwise we cannot able to produce any kind of energy and we cannot utilize this food. So the process where this happens is called digestion. Okay. Now after digestion, the food will get dissolved, not the food, we can say that the simple nutrients, okay, will get dissolved into the blood The process is termed as absorption. Now after absorption or after getting dissolved into the blood will transport all the nutrients into different organs of our body. Why? To utilize it. Because our organs specially perform a specific functions, and to perform that functions they require energy, and from these nutrients they produce energy. So from the blood these nutrients go towards different parts of the organ and then utilized it, which is known as assimilation. So assimilation is utilizing nutrients by the body for different life processes. And after that, the last but not the least is egestion. Now what is egestion? During the whole process there are lots of undigested waste is also produced, which have to removed out from our body, and this process is known as egestion. So egestion is a process of removal undigested waste. The waste or the food that is undigested is termed as undigested waste, and it has to remove from our body. The term is known as egestion. Okay. Now these 5 steps, this is the all 5 steps that facilitate the whole process of heterotrophic mode of nutrition in animals. Now we will see that how these 5 steps will facilitate the whole process of digestive system. So for this we have to know the first and foremost important definition of digestion. You can write this, you can screenshot it, do whatever, but this is a very important definition. So please note it down. What is the definition? The process by which the body breaks down complex components of food into simpler and absorbable substances. मतलब हमारे बॉडी के अंदर जब फूड जाता है तो वो कॉम्प्लेक्स फॉर्म में जाता है, जो हम लोग बॉडी में यूज़ नहीं कर पाते हैं और यूटिलाइज नहीं कर पाता है, तो बॉडी उसको सिंपल, सॉल्यूबल और एब्जॉर्बेबल फॉर्म में ब्रेक कर देगा, एंड दिस प्रोसेस इज कंसिडर्ड एज डाइजेशन. ओके, नाउ we will see human digestive system. Now human digestive system is consist of 2 parts. Number 1 is alimentary canal or the digestive tract, and number 2 is digestive gland or accessory gland. Now what is digestive tract or alimentary canal? It is nothing but a continuous canal which begins at the buccal cavity and ends at the anus region. Okay, but what about the digestive glands or the accessory glands? The glands means nothing but an organ that secretes something. Okay, so accessory gland or digestive gland is not a part of alimentary canal, but it is present around the alimentary canal and helps and pours their secretion into the alimentary canal or the digestive tract. Simply they help in the process of digestion. It includes liver, pancreas, gallbladder, etc. Okay, now we will see the first part of the alimentary canal is the buccal cavity, or we can consider it as mouth. Buccal cavity is also known as mouth. Now this is the region where ingestion takes place. Ingestion means taking of food. Mouth is the region through which we take our food. Now mouth has 3 parts: teeth, tongue and salivary glands. Now if we are talking about teeth, there are 4 types of teeth: incisor, canine, premolar and molar. There are 8 incisors, 4 canine, 8 premolar and 12 molar are present. They all together form 32 teeth. Okay, now these 4 different types of teeth perform different functions. Like incisor helps in biting and cutting the food into pieces. It helps to cutting down the food into pieces. Canine helps in tearing the food. Now you will see that in case of tiger or in case of dog, in case of lions, they have big canines, right? So the canines helps to tearing the raw flesh or the raw meat So canine helps in tearing the food, and premolar and molar helps in chewing or grinding the food. So after this chewing, grinding, the food is mixed with saliva. Food is mixed with saliva, and this is done by our tongue, right? So tongue is a organ. Tongue is a organ, is a muscular organ that attached to the floor of the mouth. हमारे माउथ के जो फ्लोर होता है उसमें एक मस्क्यूलर ऑर्गन अटैच्ड रहता है जो फूड को सलाइवा के साथ मिक्स करता है टू हेल्प swallowing in the swallowing process, okay, or helps to swallow the food, right? Now the saliva is produced inside our salivary gland. हमारे बॉडी के अंदर 3 pairs of salivary glands are present. There are 3 pairs of salivary gland in our mouth. They secrete saliva, okay. Now saliva not only mixes the food but it also helps in partial digestion. Now what do you mean by partial digestion? Partial digestion because inside the saliva or within the saliva it has an enzyme. And what is enzyme? Enzyme is a substance that is not taking part in a chemical reaction but it facilitates the reaction, any kind of chemical reaction. कोई भी केमिकल रिएक्शन हो उसको उसके जो स्पीड है उसको इंक्रीज करने के लिए एंजाइम्स उसमें हेल्प करता है. And saliva has an enzyme named salivary amylase which helps to break down the complex carbohydrate into simple sugar, that is maltose, okay. complex carbohydrate को ये maltose में convert कर देता है, that is simple sugar. And this is the region where carbohydrate digestion starts. ये क्वेश्चन आपके एग्जाम में आ सकता है कि कार्बोहाइड्रेट डाइजेशन कहाँ से शुरू होता है? हमारे माउथ से शुरू होता है, ठीक है. सो माउथ इज द रीजन वेयर सलाइवा इज सिक्रेटेड एंड सलाइवा हैज salivary amylase. It is an enzyme that helps to break down the starch, which is a complex carbohydrate, into simple sugar, that is maltose. ये बहुत बार क्वेश्चन में आ चुका है तो इसको बहुत ध्यान से आप लोग रीड करेंगे, ठीक है. So now of course after partial digestion of the food, the bolus goes downwards into the esophagus or the food pipe. Esophagus is also known as food pipe. Now see, this is the esophagus, okay. Now at the top of the esophagus there is another region which is known as pharynx. Now what is pharynx? Pharynx is a common passage of both food and air. See, if this is an esophagus, then the top layer inside this, there is both food and windpipe are present, okay. Now this particular region is known as pharynx because it is a common passage of both food and air, okay. Food pipe and windpipe both are present at this region. After that the esophagus will start or the food pipe will start. So first of all the food is pushed down into the pharynx, then it pushed down into the esophagus. Now the wall of food pipe has muscles that transfer food by peristalsis. Now what is this? ये जो esophagus है, esophagus के wall में बहुत सारे muscles present रहता है. The wall of esophagus is consist of lots of muscles, and these muscles does contraction and relaxations by which the food transferred through these esophagus towards the stomach or towards the whole alimentary canal. See, after swallowed the food, we have no control on the food. Okay, we have no control on the food. When the food reaches the esophagus, the muscles inside the esophagus perform contraction and relaxations by which they move downward. They move downward and goes towards the stomach region. They goes towards the stomach region. Okay, and then after stomach it goes to small intestine, then to large intestine, and not only the peristalsis is found in this particular region, but also it is found the whole alimentary canal. It starts from the esophagus and it still there up to the anus region. Okay, so peristalsis, what is peristalsis? Peristalsis is a series of involuntary muscle contractions and relaxations that move food throughout the alimentary canal. हमारे एलिमेंट्री जो कैनल होता है वो इसोफेगस से अप टू एनस तक यहाँ पे पेरिस्टॉल्सिस होता है. पेरिस्टॉल्सिस एक इनवॉलेंटरी मसल एक्शंस है जहाँ पे मसल्स, हमारे स्टोमक के अंदर भी मसल्स रहता है, स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन के अंदर भी मसल्स रहता है, इसोफेगस के अंदर भी मसल्स रहता है. फूड जब इसोफेगस तक पहुँच जाता है वहाँ उसके ऊपर और हमारे कंट्रोल में नहीं रहता है, तो ये मसल कॉन्ट्रैक्शन एंड रिलैक्सेशन करके इस फूड को होल एलिमेंट्री कैनल में पास ऑन कर देता है. इसी को बोलते हैं पेरिस्टॉल्सिस एंड दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ दिस चैप्टर. Okay, now once the food reaches in the stomach will start their actions or doing their job. Okay, now if you clearly look at the stomach, then you will see that it is a J-shaped organ or a bag-like structure, right? It is a J-shaped organ or a bag-like structure, and one end opens into the food pipe and another one opens into the intestine. So पिछले वाले डायग्राम को एक बार देखते हैं. देखो, this is the stomach. The one side of the stomach opens into the esophagus and another side of the stomach opens into the intestine. Here the intestine starts. Okay, here the intestine starts. So it opens into the intestine. Right? Now, what is the function of the stomach? Stomach secretes three substances. Number 1, hydrochloric acid, 2, mucus, and 3, gastric juices. Now, one by one, I will tell you the functions of these three. Hydrochloric acids. What is the function of hydrochloric acid? Whenever we take food, if there is any bacteria that goes inside our stomach, these hydrochloric acid will destroy that bacteria or any kind of unwanted substances. Okay. Also, it serves in another functions that it activates the enzymes inside our stomach. Inside our stomach, there are lots of enzymes are present, which is present in inactive state. Okay, so to active that, hydrochloric acid will activate that enzymes, and these enzymes then acts upon the food. Okay, now after that it is mucus. What is the function of mucus? See, hydrochloric acid is a acid, so it can destroy the inner lining of the stomach. So to prevent the inner lining of the stomach, mucus secretes, right? And then the gastric juice. Now inside the gastric juice or within the gastric juice, it consists of lots of enzymes that I have already talked about. Okay, these enzymes actually acts on the proteins that is present in our food. It breaks down the proteins into simpler substances or peptones. Okay, so inside the stomach, the digestion of proteins actually starts, and inside our mouth the digestion of carbohydrates starts. So you have to remember these two things. Inside our mouth, the digestion of carbohydrate starts, and inside our stomach, the proteins breaks down starts, or protein digestion starts, but not completely. Partially digestion occurs inside this stomach. Protein get partially digested, not fully digested. Okay, now once the partial digestion inside the stomach was done, then the chyme, the food will convert it into chyme, and these chyme will pushed down into the, or moved down into the small intestine. Okay, now a small intestine is a part which is a very long tube like structure, like around 7.5 mm long, but it is highly coiled. Due to highly coiled, it is seems like it is a small structure, so it is termed as small intestine. So it is highly coiled and it has 7.5 mm long, right? Now the inner lining of the intestine, small intestine, have thousands finger like structures. You can see here that inside the small intestine there is lots of finger like structures which is called as villi, okay, which is termed as villi. Now it serves the most important functions of our digestive systems. First of all, the complete digestion of the food occurs in this region. In this particular region, complete digestions occurs of the food. Okay. Now it also acts, it also plays a vital role, that it receives all the secretion from the accessory glands. Now as I already told you that accessory glands does not takes part into our digestive tract or into our alimentary canal, but it presents around the alimentary canal, and it pours their secretion into it. By the help of these secretion, the small intestine completely digest all the food we have, rest of the food. Okay. Now another thing, another important thing, after digestion the nutrients will get breaks down, and then all the nutrients, all the simple substances like carbohydrates is a simple carbohydrates, proteins breaks down into amino acids, fat breaks down into fatty acid and glycerols. All these simple substances, simple soluble substances will get absorbed by these villi, because villi consist of lots of blood vessels through which these nutrients are absorbed. Okay. Now after that, these all the essential nutrients will get absorbed by these villi. Now the undigested part that is left over will go to the large intestine. Large intestine is 1.5 mm long and it is wider, it is more wider than small intestine. Okay. Now no digestion is take place here, only absorption take place here. Absorption of what? It absorbs only water and salt from the undigested food. Undigested food से जितने भी water and salt है उसको reabsorb कर लेता है, and then after that it will convert it, that the undigested food will convert it into fecal matter inside the, and stores the in the rectum part. So see, the rectum is a part of our large intestine. Okay, this is the region that is called as rectum. Actually large intestine have three regions: cecum, colon and rectum. Rectum is the last portion of the large intestine, and it helps to store the fecal matter for 4 to 5 hours or more than that. Okay. Now after that the fecal matter will get removed out from our body through the anus. This is the anus region, this is the anus, and this is the last part of our alimentary canal through which the fecal matter will get excreted or removed out from our body, right, and egestion take place. So up to this, here you can conclude that the 5 steps of our nutrition is the ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestions is taking place inside our digestive system, right? Like first of all, ingestion taking place in our mouth, right? Digestion is start from inside our mouth and then into our stomach and then into our small intestine. Then absorption will happen or taking place inside our small intestine. Then egestion is taking place in our large intestine. Okay, now the assimilation. Now what is assimilation? Assimilation is a process where the absorbed nutrients were transported through the blood vessels to different organs of the body where they are used to build complex substances. Means when the nutrients is get dissolved inside or absorbed into the blood vessels, that is happen inside our small intestine through the villi. Okay, then after these nutrients will go to the different parts of the organ and to utilize it. Okay, organs will take up that nutrients, and then convert it into energy, and after using this energy they perform their specific function. This is known as assimilation. This is actually happens not only happens inside the small intestine but also actually happens through the small intestine. Okay. Now come to our accessory gland. Now as I already told you that accessory gland are not a part of our alimentary canal, but it actually helps in digestion. It is placed around our alimentary canal and it just pours their secretion into it and helps in digestion. So there are 3 types of accessory glands are present or involved. They are liver, gallbladder and lastly pancreas. So what is liver? Liver is a reddish brown gland. इसका कलर होता है reddish brown कलर का, and this is the largest gland of our body. हमारे body में largest gland. This is the largest gland of our body. It is situated at the upper part of the abdomen on the right side. ये हमारे right side में upper abdomen में पाया जाता है. हमारे chest region के नीचे अपर एब्डोमेन में राइट साइड के तरफ पाया जाता है. ठीक है, इसका कलर है रेडिश ब्राउन कलर एंड इट सिक्रेट्स बाइल जूसेस. ओके, इसका रोल क्या है? इट सिक्रेट्स बाइल जूसेस. नाउ द एक्सेस ऑफ बाइल विल गेट स्टोर्ड इनटू द गॉल ब्लैडर. व्हाट इज गॉल ब्लैडर? दिस इज द गॉल ब्लैडर. This green colored portion is termed as gall bladder. Okay, now the excess bile that will secreted from the liver will get stored into the gallbladder. There is nothing specific function to the gallbladder, but the gallbladder helps to store the excess bile that is secreted from the liver, right? Now this bile juice act on the fat molecules. Okay, these bile juice actually act on the fat molecules or helps in the digestion of fat. Now ये फैट को डाइजेस्ट तो डायरेक्टली नहीं करता है, ये फैट को इमल्सिफिकेशन करता है. अब ये इमल्सिफिकेशन, ये नया टर्म क्या है? व्हाट इज इमल्सिफिकेशन? सी, फैट मॉलिक्यूल्स आर द बिगर वन. इसका जो साइज होता है ये बहुत लार्ज होता है. ठीक है, फैट ग्लोब्यूल्स जो है वो बहुत साइज में लार्ज होता है. अब इसके ऊपर अगर कोई भी एंजाइम्स काम नहीं कर सकता है, नो एंजाइम्स कैन एक्ट ऑन दीज साइज ऑफ फैट मॉलिक्यूल्स, सो इट हैज़ टू break down into smaller fat molecules so that the enzymes can act upon it. So this is termed and this process is done by our bile juice. Bile juice actually helps to break down the size of fat globules into smaller sizes so that the enzymes can act upon it, and this particular process is termed as emulsification. So bile juice does not digest the fat, it actually emulsify the fat. So You have to remember this thing. Now the next thing is the pancreas, and this is the last gland of our digestive system. Pancreas is nothing but a large cream colored gland. इसका कलर होता है क्रीम कलर का, ठीक है, लाइट वाइट कलर का. एंड दिस इज लोकेटेड बिहाइंड द स्टोमक. स्टोमक के पीछे ये पाया जाता है, ठीक है. इट इज़ लोकेटेड बिहाइंड द स्टोमक. ये रहा हमारे लीवर, दिस इज द लीवर, एंड ये रहा हमारे पैनक्रियस. ओके, दिस इज द पैनक्रियस. Now it secretes pancreatic juice. Obviously pancreas secretes pancreatic juice. Now within the pancreatic juice there are lots of enzymes that will act upon the food particles like carbohydrate, protein, fat. And pancreatic juice have enzymes that will break down the carbohydrate into simple sugar. Okay, that is glucose. Proteins into amino acids, and fat into fatty acids and glycerol. These this is very important. You have to remember this, that pancreatic juice have lots of enzymes that break down the carbohydrate into simple sugar, that is glucose, proteins into amino acids, and fat into fatty acid and glycerol. These all are the simple substances or the simple soluble substances that will absorb our body. Okay, and liver secretes the bile juice, pancreas secretes the pancreatic juice. All these juices goes into the small intestine, and then small intestine release their small intestinal juice, and these three juices will act upon the food, and the food will completely digest. Now what we have read so far, this is a part of human digestive system. But what about the animals like cows, buffaloes, cattle? Okay, so for better understanding, just look at the picture or look at the diagram. This is a cow. Okay, now these cows, buffaloes or the cattle are considered as ruminants. Why ruminants? Because they have a digestive system which is completely different to the human digestive system. So see what they have in their digestive system. First of all, they have mouth or the buccal cavity, which consists of the teeth, tongue and the salivary gland like as human. They have also esophagus, but they have a stomach which is completely different to the human. Their stomach has 4 compartments or 4 chambers. What are they? They are rumen, reticulum, omasum and abomasum. Okay, here abomasum is considered as the true abdomen or the true stomach. Okay, and then of course they have small intestine, large intestine and the anus part like human also. Now the question is, how does they digest their food? Now first thing first, we all know that these ruminants or the cows, buffaloes, cattle, they eat the grasses. Okay, they are herbivores. They have a food habit to they have the grass material, and the grass consists of cellulose. Cellulose is nothing but a complex carbohydrate. Okay, now complex carbohydrate. Now we humans does not have the ability to digest these cellulose, but the ruminants have the ability to digest the cellulose. That is why they are herbivores and they feed on grasses. Okay, now first of all, they just swallow the grasses very quickly. You can see, we can often see that the cows or the buffaloes rapidly or quickly swallow the grasses. Then the grasses goes to esophagus, and then it is come into the rumen part. This is the part of the first part of the stomach. Rumen is the first part of the stomach. Okay. Now inside the rumen, the food is stored for some time, and then it is partially digested and softened and converted into curd, C-U-D, curd. Okay. So what happens? First of all, they quickly swallow the grass and store it in the part called rumen. Okay, rumen is the first part of their stomach. So inside the rumen, they just quickly store the grasses, and they partially digested that particular food and softened the food, which is termed as curd. So curd is nothing but softly partially digested food, right? After some time later, this curd returns to the mouth again, and then the animals chews it. Okay, we often see that a cow standing in the corner, and in the whole day they chews their food. What is that food? This is the curd that is already partially digested in their rumen. Again this partially digested curd returns to their mouth, and then it is chewed. After chewing, this food then again goes to esophagus and then goes down into rumen again. Okay. Now inside the rumen, there are lots of bacteria are present, a special type of bacteria are present which helps in digestion these cellulose. We humans cannot able to digest that cellulose part because we does not contain that particular bacteria, but cow, buffalo, cattle have the bacteria that digest the cellulose. Okay, and then the digested food goes to the reticulum, omasum, and then followed to abomasum. Now one more thing you have to remember, that inside the rumen only cellulose part of the food is get digested. So only carbohydrate get digested inside the rumen. But in case of protein and fat, they will get digested inside the abomasum part. Okay, you have to remember this thing. Only cellulose or the complex carbohydrate get digested inside the rumen region, and in case of protein and fat will get digested into the abomasum part. Okay, after the complete digestion of the food, it will get it will go into the small intestine and then large intestine, and the undigested or the unwanted food will get removed out from their body through the anus, same as human. Okay, so now the thing is, why cow, buffalo and cattle are termed as or considered as ruminants? Because they have rumen inside their body, and the whole process they exhibit is called rumination. Rumination is a process when first of all cow swallow the food quickly and then store inside the rumen. Inside the rumen it gets partially digested, then it converts into curd. After latter the curd returns to their mouth in small lumps, and the animals again chews it. After chewing the curd, it gets into the esophagus, then to rumen. Inside the rumen there are lots of bacteria that will breaks down the cellulose part of the food, and this particular process, this entire process is called rumination. That is why cow, buffalo, cattle are considered as ruminants. Now another thing you have to know about the horses or the rabbit. Okay. Now in case of horses and rabbit, they have a large sac-like structure which is called cecum. Instead of rumen, they have cecum in their body, and inside this cecum they have lots of gut bacteria which helps to digest their food or their grasses. Okay. Now the last part of this chapter is an unicellular. We are talking about an unicellular organism. Unicellular organisms means an organism that is made up of one single cell. Okay. Now it is an amoeba. Now in case of amoeba, you have to look at the structure of an amoeba. It does not have a definite shape, right? It does not have a definite shape, but it has a cell membrane. It has a cell membrane, right? Also it has a nucleus inside their body which is present at the center of their body. Okay, and they have a jelly like structure which is called cytoplasm. Okay, cytoplasm, and they have lots of vacuoles that are there. These are the vacuoles, right? Now how does this single celled amoeba digest their food or traps their food? Okay, first of all, they does not have a definite shape, right? Now when they sense food, they just put their finger like projections which is called pseudopodia or false feet. You can see that they have false feet, a finger like projections which is termed as false feet. This is a finger like projections that is called false feet or pseudopodia that we cannot see. That is why this is called a pseudopodia. Next is, after that they just extend their pseudopodia around the food and traps the food into a food vacuoles. Now first thing first of all, amoeba senses the food around them. Okay, when they senses the food, they just pushes out their finger like projections around the food. This is the food. They just pushes their finger like projections around the food, and it covers the food entirely and forms a food vacuole. Inside the food vacuole, they just take that food. Okay, this is the food vacuole, and inside the food vacuole, they just trap the food. After that, inside their body, they secretes inside the food vacuole, they secretes lots of digestive juices to digest that particular food, and then they absorbed it into their body. The essential part will get absorbed into their body, and the unwanted or the undigested food that is remaining will get expelled out through the vacuoles. Okay, so the extra part or the extra food will get dissolved. The food will get dissolved entirely into their body, and the undigested food will get expelled out through the food vacuoles. I hope all of you are enjoying this video. If anyone has any doubts, do let me know in the comment section below, and please do like, share, and don't forget to subscribe, because a little support from you guys gives me a lot of motivation. Stay tuned for more such videos. Thank you.